hit the fan, we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging deck, bring extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them all to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slit the doors and roll. What you gonna do?
And welcome to the Double S Podcast. Happy Sunday night to you folks. Hey, before we get going too much further, just so you know, this is a pre-recorded show. All right, we're not live. So if we're not responding to your questions here immediately on the fly, we're not ignoring you. We love you. We appreciate you guys tuning in to us. But this is why. And why is it? Because your boy here is driving back from Missouri, my home away from home, Lake of the Ozarks, the Eco Fishing Shop, Big Bass 250 going on, man. And who knows, maybe right now I'm driving back with green dollar bills just floating around the cab of my pickup truck because I was one cast in and got that $10,000 fish, or maybe not. I can tell you this. Since drawing back from doing a lot of competition and focusing more on our nonprofit work, dude, I am just so stinking excited to get down there and go fishing. I know the weather's going to be probably dodgy. We're going to get rained on or whatever. But, dude, I got some of the best equipment in the game that I have at my disposal to use. I got good sound safety practices out there, and I'm going to be around a bunch of people that I absolutely admire and love hanging out with, these competitors down there. I'm in a section of the country that I absolutely love in Missouri down there. It's beautiful. And dude, how can I complain on any level, regardless of what happens with the results of this tournament? I'm going fishing, dude, and it's freaking the end of October. I mean, how bad can it really be at the end of the day, right? Getting that perspective, gentlemen. We talk about this all the time, keeping that mental health, keeping that strong, positive, mental health, and taking inventory on where we're at with stuff. I'm going fishing, man. I'm going to have a blast no matter what. Yeah, I ain't going to lie. Bringing home a big ass check, that'd be all right. That would be a great way to top it off. But no, Eco Fishing Shop puts on an amazing event. It's one of the most sought after events, you guys know. Every year we wait for this. I haven't been able to make it the past 2 years because of scheduling and work. But this year we blocked it out and said, nope, nothing else is going on. We're hitting this thing. So I'm excited to go down there. And speaking of equipment, that's the guy we got tonight, man. This has been one of the anchor pieces of equipment. I told myself when I first got into the game, if there's one area we will not scrimp on, it's going to be in our power setting. Dude, this is your lifeline, right? In the kayak game, especially when you're on bigger waters and doing what we do, taking people out, I lose power. Now I got a safety issue on our hands, right? I lose power. Now I got time constraints that I've lost. And guess what? I have had a motor die on me. It wasn't my battery. It was my motor die on me 1.5 miles away from a ramp down in Texas. And while the Unlimited is easily paddled, dude, when you load it up, back then I was Fat Gene too. I was going 250 plus and all my gear in there. 1.5 miles paddle. That I thought I was the cardiac kid coming back, dude. So yeah, it's just something we knew we were not going to play around with this thing. Well, we landed, of course, after a lot of research, we landed on the best in the industry, in my opinion. That was Amped Outdoors Power. Then I had the pleasure to get to know the guys behind the scene and the guy with the vision there, Matt. And so he is our guest tonight. He's hanging out in the green room. He's going to be coming on here very soon. Before we do that, let's pay the bills real fast, all right? As you see, this is pre-recorded. We're not live tonight. But every episode of the Double S Podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. Hashtag helping is healing. Go check them out, man. Healing across from the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance all the way to our Field Ops Division that the TPO, the True Patriot Outfitters, we manage that section right there. We are nonprofits that are out here working, trying to bring healing, restoring camaraderie, bringing that bonding back And the main two biggest things, man, we're restoring that mission, restoring purpose. That's what you get by when you engage the outdoors, and that's what we stay focused on 100%. Of course, none of this possible without the Heroes Media Group, Adam Bird, the entire team over there, which is Adam Bird and Adam Bird running this thing behind the scenes. But then the numerous amount of podcasts that are on the network here that we are honored and proud to be alongside with our co-hosts that are out there. Something for everybody, dude. If you're looking for resources, go check out the Heroes Media Group, check out these podcasts, real information coming to you, and Heroes Media Group makes it happen. And of course, the sister company, HMG Beverage, awesome veteran-owned coffee business. Kickstart. I always tell people that's the one I love. That's the one I went after there. All right, so that's going to do it. And one last shout out here also, because I am positive that what I'm about to go partake in is one of the best events out there. Eco Fishing Shop, man. Travis Randall, Jonathan Dominguez, the whole team, the owners over there. Great shop down there. One of the premier kayak shops in the United States of America. It happens to be in Camden, Missouri. Down there. So check out Eco Fishing Shop. Those guys doing an awesome stuff. They didn't ask me to do that. I'm doing that just because they do a heck of a job and they're putting the anglers first. All right. Bills are paid. Everything's done there. I'm going to turn off this banner here real quick. You guys know it's pre-recorded. Let's go ahead and get him into the show here. Like I said, from day one, Amped Outdoors has been a part, the anchor of all of our craft through and through. And it was built on many reasons that we're going to cover tonight here that we'll talk to Matt about and get this figured out. So let's go ahead and bring him in here. And we're playing a little game with our audio here. So we have two additions we're going to put in here. So that's why we have, bear with me, bada bing and bada boom. Matt, do you hear us, buddy?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yep. And we got you, dog. We got you. All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Gene. Much appreciate it. And thank you for what you do.
Absolutely, brother. It's our pleasure. And like we say this all the time, our followers know this as well. It takes a village, and it's when we work together out there. And dude, you were one of the first organizations that literally in the words, how can we help? And brother, it means the world to us, because without the extra push and without that extra support that you gave us in the very beginning, we didn't have the budget, man, to do what we wanted to do and get going. Sure. And AMP stepped up and said, we got you, and let's get this going. And so now, like I was just telling you, I'm sitting here and we've got a pair of 24s, a 36, we got a 12, we got 2 or 3 30s. I got a 15 that was donated to me because he's got a smaller deal, and we're going to add a small little electronics to one of the other boats to help teach the guys some of that stuff. And so yeah, dude, we're Amped Outdoors through and through, man. And plus, coolest hoodies in the game, brother. I'll just tell you that. I love my other, Eagle Claw. I love those boys, and I love Vicious Fishing and those guys that I work with. But Amped, your swag is like, dude, I'm wearing it. It's like some of the best stuff. You got somebody behind there that knows what they're doing with the swag. I'll say that.
Definitely not me.
It's not you. Yeah. You're not the guy behind that.
No, definitely not me. No. It's a lot of our guys give us good ideas. We like to throw stuff together, and every year we release a different color shirt, different design, and they're kind of fun to collect.
My wife has asked me, she goes, you got another Amped hoodie? I'm like, yes, it's a new one.
Yeah, this is my first time wearing this sweatshirt. We basically took that shirt that you have and made it into a sweatshirt. So yeah, I like the white. I don't know how long it's going to last, especially for me. I'm accident prone, but we'll see.
I'm with you, dude. I try not to wear this one out on the days that I know I'm going to be hot and sweaty out there. Cause I don't want to scum this one up. This is my dress hoodie. Well, cool. Now that I know there's another hoodie out there, it looks like I got to bust out the wallet and get another one of those coming. So let's talk, man, that the roots of Amped Outdoors, your background, what inspired you to start this thing, man, long ago? Because you're everywhere out there, and you guys set the bar now, in my opinion. When you look from the boating world to ice to kayak, Amped is in the game, and you're setting the bar, making others try to basically chase it.
Yeah, I come from a technology background where we use a lot of this stuff, and I did a lot of outsourcing, getting product in, and we're talking over 8 years ago when we started off really in ice fishing as one of my true passions. And there wasn't a technology out there outside of lead acid batteries. People were starting to, put things together with lithium, but there wasn't really a true good product out there for powering your portable fishing electronics. And that's where we started off. And this predates, your live scope. I mean, Penn Optics was just starting out. Nobody had them. We kind of had a vision, right? Because people want to be, especially in ice, they want to be portable. They want their products to last all day. You want to be as light as possible. So we started developing a product lineup that was really small form factor. In the first couple of years, focused on that, got a little bit larger, with some smaller batteries for kayaks. And eventually that just grew into your boat batteries and other applications. So yeah, we started small back in 2017 and just have kind of slowly growing since. And yeah, really understanding this technology, understanding the marine angler. We build all of our products for the marine angler, portable use, lightweight, something of high quality that's not going to break the bank. And, that's our whole goal, our mission. And then to back it up through education and customer support. And that's really what we're all about.
Dude, that you just hit the pillars. I wrote down on my little notes leading up here, the pillars that from a customer standpoint that I've seen is R&D and quality. That's been one of them. Education and customer support, right? I mean, those have been at the heart of Amped Outdoors, and of course, the probably the fourth one would just be affordability, because it is the top line quality, but it's also, like you said, not breaking the bank. You guys. Right. Keep, especially, your audience, kayak anglers, dude, we're fickle as hell, right? We're always, I hear that statement, if I wanted to pay that price, I'd buy a boat, type thing. It's like, no, I get that. I get that. And while you can go to Amazon and roll the dice, because I hear a lot of my buddies do that stuff. And I'm like, hey man, if you want to do that, go ahead. But I'll do that maybe with a paddle or a net. I'm not doing that with my lifeline, dude. And that's, to me, the battery is at the heart. That is the power plant for lights, electronics, for mapping, for power. It's everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that R&D and quality piece. Talk to me a little bit about that, as far as the R&D, what goes into these amp batteries on the inside that people don't see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of testing, and I mean, I think you nailed it on the head with with having the cheap batteries out there, and they're readily available now. The difference being between a product like this and a product that may even be half the price or even less is going to be what you actually put into it. So you don't see what's inside of the battery pack; it's all hidden by this case. So we've done a lot of things through our research development, and we do a lot of testing. A lot of it with your modern day electronics, with your kayaks, with your boats. And what we put into the battery packs, it's going to be all high quality components, but then we really focus on the build side of it, right? So yeah, there's a big cost difference because of the higher quality components, but also the build side of it. So when we look at the build, the way like a larger battery pack like this, it's got to sit in a boat, right? You can't take a one size fits all battery that would sit, for your solar system in your house. It never gets moved, never gets touched, and put it into a boat with all the vibration, all the impact and everything that can go through. It's just not going to last as long. So when we build it, we put, and encase everything with a metal bracket, the proper cushioning, and then make sure our connections are appropriate for, that type of environment. Not only that, but a battery like this has a higher level of waterproof rating. So most of your battery packs out there are glued, and even our smaller ones, we still use a glue type technology because you're not going to see as much moisture as like your boat batteries will. So there's, special casing that will prevent water from ever getting into the battery. So if you do happen to submerge it, and trust me, I'm careful with all my stuff. I had, something go bad in my boat this year where I had a live well that I was running overnight to keep bait alive. And I didn't know that one of the hoses was bad, and it actually filled up my boat. My battery was underwater overnight. I came out the next day, pulled them out, dried them off, and it actually works. So it's not going to be the case for everybody, but when you have a higher quality build like that, and you take things like that into consideration when developing them, it's just going to be a battery that, like you said, it's your lifeline. it's going to work when you need it to work. And no matter what the conditions are, we're trying to foolproof this as much as possible. So if there is a mistake, it does happen to go underwater, it's not going to damage the battery. It'll still work, get you back to shore if needed. And that's really what we put into it. And that's the biggest difference between us and others. And like I said, we're really trying to keep this as affordable as possible to our consumers today.
So 2 things on that. Number one, I can attest to the fact that I had the privilege when I was out there in Minnesota not too long ago. I jumped across the border and came over to see you there at the shop. Your Frankenstein bench there. And what I'm so impressed about this is that you guys don't use this in PR. You don't bash on your competitors, not one bit. You have been class act from day one. And I tell people, hey, I'll tell you what I saw. I know what I saw when I was on that bench, and there is no question in my mind when you look at the build, the quality of components, along with how this thing is put together and presented. There is a massive difference between Amped and the competition out there. I saw it firsthand because you guys have some of the biggest competitors. You got their stuff opened up and written. Like I said, it looks like you guys are building Frankenstein in there. It was amazing. And it was really eye-opening to me to see that, and also comforting as a loyal, Amped Outdoors customer. The other thing that I wanted to let you know, so I did the unthinkable, and I performed a maneuver that not many people have ever done, and I flipped an unlimited last year. I had too much power on that boat. I had a Kraken 36 volt, and I was clipping away at about 6 miles an hour. I stumbled around in my boat under full power like that and hit the foot pedal. She turned hard right. Next thing I know, rolled. Thank God, and thank the powers of Davy Jones, that of all the things I cut corners on that day of not paying attention, I didn't tether my rods, so I had 10 rod and reels down to Davy Jones' locker to the bottom of the lake. A $300 Garmin foot pedal down to the bottom of the lake because I didn't tether it. I only put 1 strap on my battery pack because I was in a hurry. And thank goodness that battery pack, that strap held. For 20 plus minutes, I had a 36 volt and a pair of 30s submerged under the water because that kayak was flipped. And it was the reason I couldn't do a deep water recovery, because every time I'd get the kayak halfway up, that battery pack would come out of the water and just pull me right back down in. And I'm like, okay, I'm swimming to shore. So I pulled everything over there. Those batteries, I literally, once I got them back, they got me back to the ramp. When I got back to the hotel, I opened everything up, just let the sun do its work. And dude, I've been checking on my app, watching their, charge and everything. It's like nothing happened. They didn't bat an eyelash, dude. They survived where my motor unfortunately did not. I had to have some warranty work done to that. So,
Sure.
But yeah, so yeah, I can attest to that. Yes, they can handle, basically mishaps and guys being dumb out there. Cause that was totally my fault how I flipped that thing. But and that's when we take guys out, they're always, one of the cool things we offer is that it's not just fishing. We like guys that like to gear out, right? We nerd out on they're there to really not just enjoy fishing, but also to get into the gear that we're using. So when of course the first thing we open up is the power plant, and they see, our black pack with the batteries, tucked down in there nice. And we start going over this stuff. It's always their question, is what do you recommend? What do you recommend? And we give them that same thing. It's like, dude, we've seen it. And I'll tell you, this is where you don't cut corners, dude. This is your lifeline, right? So like in fishing, it's the hook and fishing line. That's your lifeline between you and the fish. That battery is the connection between me and the shore, dude. So, and when the wind picks up, I don't even sweat it. I get the nose of that unlimited into the wind. As long as my motor's good, I'm good.
Yep,
Education.
absolutely.
Education is something. This is something also that you guys do that a lot of people miss. If they don't go and really check the website out, they're missing out on unbelievable amounts of information. And this for the tech guys out there, it was one of the things that drew me to you, because you pull back the curtain to say that, look, there's basic math involved here, folks. So here's how it lays out. And this is what you're looking at. This is what you should expect. And this is, how you're going to get that or how you're not going to get that. That takes a lot of time and energy, dude, to put that together. What really inspired you guys to put that out there? Was it truth in marketing or what was it?
Yeah, with internet days, right, or internet today, there's information everywhere, and there's so much conflicting information. And you could be on social media, you can ask a question and get 50 different answers, right? So what we want to do is we want to give you the truth, right, on all the technology, and a lot of that comes on from hands-on experience. But also put as much information in front of you as possibly can. So like this afternoon, I'm filming a video on battery storage. We're getting, that time of the year up here in the north, everybody's asking about how do I properly store batteries? And we did one years ago. I just think we need to update it, right? Because there have been a lot of advancements since then. There are so many different lithium battery types. So if you want to know how to store a lithium battery and just Google it, you might get it for like an RC car battery, and that might not be the same way you store a battery. These cobalt batteries. There's so many different lithium technologies, and everyone's got their opinion on that. So we just like to really dumb it down as much as possible, take everything into consideration, and give you that information, right? You can buy lithium starting batteries for your boat, and we sell lithium starting batteries for your boat. Now, there are some downsides and, truth to using lithium batteries, certain motors. Some motor manufacturers do not recommend it. A lot of lithium battery companies say, yes, it's safe to use on all of them. We've used it on just about every brand out there, have had good luck, but we like to share the information of reasons why the boat motor manufacturers don't recommend them. We like to, you said on the education piece on, if you go right to our site, towards the bottom of the screen, there's a bar that'll show like Garmin, Hummingbird. And we've gone in and we've taken a look at amp draw, for all your electronics. And we've got a cool little thing where you can type in like 5 graphs and up to 3 forward-facing sonars. It'll tell you how long each battery is going to last with the sun. So we just like to provide that information to you as a resource and tool to help make sure you pick out the right product. Really think if you don't do that, more and more people are going to have issues because they get conflicting information. They don't know how to properly care for the products. If we don't tell you how long a battery is going to last with your products, you may not be happy. So yeah, all in all, it's important to put as much information at you and update that, over time. As you're scrolling down there, the Garmin, Lowrance, Hummingbird. If you click on one of those, it'll just pop up a page where you can manually input. There you go, like graph 1 to graph 5, and then multiple forward-facing sonars. You could select your battery, and then boom, it'll just tell you, how long that battery would last with all of your electronics with a full charge. So we just like to make this as readily available to you. That's on our front page. If you go up to the top, there's a video how-to section right there. If you click on that, there's just different articles. The most frequently asked questions, how to size the right battery for your kayak, or the difference between different batteries and all that. So a bunch of different articles and videos that we put out there, and we'll continue to expand this. Just good information for doing research, where you don't have to go 50 different places to find 50 different answers. We like to be open and honest and give you the truth right here on our website.
I love it, man, because that's the key. Is that here, like you said, there's a science behind this, right? And there's math and science behind this. And when you start talking the real story, you start to understand. In my opinion, you start to understand, the importance, the impressive nature of the Amped Outdoor product and the company itself. Is the fact that we're trying to take all the sales out of it here. And I don't know an angler out there that doesn't appreciate that these days, man. Like you said, with the amount of bombardment we get with everything that's out there in propaganda and whatever, it's nice to just have that taken away and just get right to it. And I know the other piece to this too is, man, I've sent you emails and asked questions about, hey, what would be your suggestion here? And dude, you're Johnny on the spot with here's your options. Here's what what we would suggest with the batteries. And it's helped me in a major way, when it comes to the charging and the overall, care of the batteries. I still have from 3.5 years ago, I still have, several, a couple batteries from that era that are still, in full operation, still full charging. I've actually got the old school Bluetooth attachment on one of my batteries that basically locks on. So I have both the apps here. Talk to me about that. The app that comes with this, that Bluetooth monitoring, bro, that is such a lifesaver. I didn't think much about it until I was at Truman Reservoir. I was at Truman Reservoir during an All-American Classic. I went one direction about 2 miles. It bombed out. Garbage. And I'm like, dude, my only other spot is like 2 miles back the other direction. So that's 4 total miles one way. Do I have enough power? And brother, I literally pulled this thing up and I started looking at going, okay, if I calculate that in my head, yeah, I can do this. So I took off at about 80%, power. And I was watching, I could literally watch the draw and it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to make this. This will be just fine. I got enough power to get me all the way there, fish around and make it back, another 2 miles. That app saved my cookies and it actually helped me get 5 fish in the boat, that day because I wasn't sure if I could, try to make that long run without it. So talked about that evolution. It started off as an attachment. Now it's just built in.
Yeah, like I said, there's been so many advancements. That's one that I like the most, was adding the Bluetooth. And it took us a little while to do it because we wanted to get it right. Because, now you can find Bluetooth in most batteries out there. But the issue is how complex some of these apps get and, how hard they are to use or they don't give you good, useful information. So we built the app to really give you the peace of mind and be really easy to use. Just put everything on one dashboard. You can see how much power, as you can see there on the screen, the percentage, when you're discharging, it'll tell you how much time remaining. When you're charging, it'll tell you how much time before that battery is fully charged, how much power you're truly drawing out of it. Could tell you the temperature and just useful information, the stuff you want to see. Sometimes that information is kind of hidden, but it's a great tool for us because for troubleshooting, if somebody's having an issue, it's just great because, we just say, well, pull up your app, send us a screenshot. We take a look at it and we could usually tell them what's going on. They have a parasitic draw somewhere in their boat that's drawing, the power down when not in use or, you can, if the battery is fully depleted and you put it on the charger, doesn't start charging, you need to wake it up. We have a clear sleep protection button on it. So having that software is really nice, not only for you, the consumer, but for us. You, the consumer, it's a peace of mind thing. I love it because if I'm going to a fishing tournament and you got, 30 boats plugged in at the hotel, I know my batteries are charging and I plug it in because you never know when a breaker's going to hit and I can pull it up from, hotel room and see where my batteries are at. And then, yeah, like you said, when you're using it throughout the day, it gives you that peace of mind. It tells you, based on your usage, how long this battery should last before it dies. So yeah, okay. Yeah. I can easily make that 4 mile run where, if you don't have that technology, it's kind of a crapshoot, you just hope you make it. So yeah, it really is a peace of mind thing. Yeah. It's great technology. Now I don't like putting too much technology. It's like you're finding batteries now with USB ports on them and all these other things. It's just, things that may not be usable or impact the waterproof rating of the battery or impact, just overall, just so many components. There's just more room to, for issues. We don't want to put too much in it, but, with the bigger batteries, we figured Bluetooth is a necessity and we got it down to where we feel really comfortable with it and where we're not having any issues. Now the last 2 years we've had heated technology for heated charging for cold weather climates like up here. I know that if it gets down to 25 degrees tonight, that my battery is going to charge because it has built-in heated charge function. So, just adding the simple little things like that don't really add to the cost, don't really add to, the technology or make it any worse. And we're going to add that to it to, really help you to ensure that your battery works when you need it to every time.
Dude, and that's because you're an angler. brother. I mean, that's the thing. You're an angler, you get it, and you're,
Yeah.
and I want to get into the ice side of it real quick here. I wanted to show, I'll put this up here. So you can also rename these batteries, by the way. 36, I don't know if you can see it, but 36 volt TPO, 24 volt there, and I've got one other 24 volt. So that's what I've got on the new stuff. Is I'm literally in my podcast studio. My garage is out that way, type thing, and I can sit there and watch and make sure that everything, like you said, things charging, everything's looking good, and away we go. My 12 volt is still from the old school days that I have running there. So I've got the other app for that one that I can tap right into that to make sure that I'm good to go with that. So yeah. There was something I wanted to talk about also on, you had mentioned this, and I've always kind of been just topical on my understanding of it. Garmin with Panoptics, they had some different voltage like requirement or request or suggestion or something. So you'll see like there's like, what is it, like a 14.8 or something like that I can't remember the exact voltage, but there's a different lithium there. And you guys were one of the few organizations that they would quietly refer people to going, if I were going to do it, their customer service was sending people your way because you had these batteries that work better with the live scope and it helps improve the effectiveness. So talk to me real quick about that. Explain, gene it down in terms so that I can understand it better.
Yeah, so I think the reason why Garmin, pushed a lot of people our way is because we have such a wide variety of products. So if you go to our website, I mean, we have over 25 battery models. But when it comes to like for ice fishing, shuttle use is huge. They send a lot of people over to us because we specialize in that. We're the first ones to specialize in that. And we built higher capacity, higher voltage batteries for these portable applications. Now, there's a misconception out there. A lot of times people think the reason why we have a higher voltage battery is because it gives you better image quality. And that's actually not true. Your units will really regulate voltage inside of the unit itself. So running at 16 volts or running at 13 volts is not going to make a difference in image quality. There's a few exceptions there. We did come out with, like, this is our 32 amp hour. It's I got to go reverse here. 32 amp hour, very small form factor. You can't do that with a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is a 12.8 volt. This uses an NMC chemistry that you oftentimes find in like your drill batteries and laptops, and probably the most common chemistry used for lithium products out there, EMV vehicles, so on. You can't make it in a 12 volt battery. You can only make it in 11 volt, or you can make it at 14.8 volts. So we came out with the 14.8 volts because fully charged, this battery is 16.8 and fully discharged is at 11.7. So all of your fishing electronics today work within that voltage range, right? Some of them will work to a lower voltage, but you'll find you lose image quality below 12 volts. And sometimes they just don't work below, once they get to a certain voltage, they just stop working entirely. It'll say like transducer not found because you're dropping below that 12 volt mark. So this chemistry was just great for your portable applications where you can have a smaller battery, higher capacity, and it works within that voltage working range. The 12.8 volt batteries, to do that, you have to build a larger pack. So you just don't get as much power out of them.
I see.
But even a 12.8 volt lithium is like this 100 amp hour here that I have kind of hidden in the back. This is perfect for running 3-4 screens in your boat or 3 screens in a live scope, right? It'll go all day. It's 12.8 volts, but it's a lot different than the lead acid batteries. Lead acid batteries start off at like 12.8 volts, but then as you're using it, it could just be, an hour, 2 to 3 hours in, and you're dropping below 12 volts. That's where you lose image quality. A 12.8 volt lithium battery will operate between 12.8 and 13.2 volts the entire time you use it. So you don't drop to that unsafe range, right, where you lose image quality or you get that transducer not found. So a 12.8 volt battery for on your boat is probably the most ideal. In the portable fishing applications, your kayaks, your ice fishing, stuff like that, that's where you can go lighter, smaller, higher capacity with this NMC technology. And that's why it's 14.8 volts. It has nothing to do with it gives you better image quality. It's just more so that's the only way you can really make it. And it's still within that perfect voltage working range to power your electronics. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Even my, crayon eating brain over here. I've hung out with my Marine brothers way too long.
Right.
I'm not a Marine myself, but I can definitely get the thought pattern.
It's a topic that's oftentimes argued online. Oh, I want higher voltage. It gives me better image quality. And companies came out with 16-volt batteries and everything else, and doing all the side-by-side testing. If you're running a 12.8 volt or 16-volt battery side by side, you don't see a difference in image quality. Your fishing electronics manufacturers are going to tell you that. The only advantage of higher voltage batteries is that if you have a long wire run from like the front to the back of your boat and you're using too small a wire, there's less of a voltage loss. So, I mean, that's the only advantage. I always recommend use the right battery, have the right wiring in your boat, right connections, and you should never have an issue whatsoever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Through and through. The wiring is such a key that a lot of guys don't understand that, that drop off, getting the right gauge wire, especially if you're doing, like in my case, I've got power on the stern of the boat and I'm running everything off the bow. Right. So I've got my plugins up there. So yeah, you want to make sure you get the right gauge going in.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, even some of your boat manufacturers are starting to put in higher quality wiring, but boats back in the day never did, because you might draw, half to 1 amp. Now, you're drawing upwards to some of these larger ones are 3 to 5 amps or even more on these big MBT screens. And you just can't, put that much current through that small wiring, not have the voltage loss, not have issues. So it's important that newer boats, unless they put higher quality wiring, I always recommend run your lines separate, or have a professional put them in. And there's so many companies out there now making wiring for your boat, but that's almost as crucial. If you're spending $5,000 to $20,000 in electronics, spend the $500 to get the right wire for your boat. On top of that, spend the right money to get the right battery to power it all day, and you're going to be a happy camper. So.
Dude, when I bought my brand new bass boat, when I started heading out back in those days when I was, going to try to chase fish around the country, I remember being so disgruntled over the fact that when the boat came in, I had all Humminbird products on it, right? Had 4 Solixes on board, Ultrex, the whole shebang. And like literally a month into it, all of a sudden my battery I go to fire back up, and I'm noticing that I'm getting these issues with like my starting battery was draining down and a few things. I'm like, what in the heck is good? These are brand new batteries, everything. Talking to a few guys, and the first thing they said was, dude, you need a new wire harness in here, because the way it comes from the factory, it's not set up to handle that, along with the bus that you're using in there. And so literally, talking to guys like one of the most prominent names, Justin Atkins, from the bass world himself, he gave me a link because I was a marshal at an event, and he's like, here, dude, here's a link to the wire harness you need. And I'm like, it's a brand new boat. Why am I already replacing wiring? It's brand new. But it was just because of the electronic push. We always had that desire to push these things further than what original design was. So that's cool that Amp's ahead of that, man, and that you guys see that stuff, and you're pulling the curtain back on the the whole Wizard of Oz maneuver there to shed light on what the real story is with it. Mm-hmm. The other piece to this, that is at the roots. I said this before. You're an angler, Matt, and so that's how customer support has been there. You've always understood. From the bass boat to kayak, you guys have always operated understanding what we're dealing with out there, and you've aligned yourself with organizations and tournament trails to reflect that. And at the heart of this is the ice game, because that's you're an avid ice angler. Now I'm gonna be honest, brother. Ice time rolls around, I got fuzzy bunny slippers and a cup of hot cocoa over here on the side, and I'm looking at maps because I'm not a fan of the ice these days. I still want to get out ice fishing because I've never truly been. But yeah, talk to me about that as far as your, what got you into ice fishing, and then how that translated, to this here.
Yeah, well, it's changed over years, and as I get older, I'm not out on the ice as much as I used to. Now I enjoy it. And don't get me wrong, but I'm not like some of our staff guys who can go out there and run these events where it's negative 10, 30-mile-an-hour winds and, they're fishing without a shack. That's not me.
Nah, dog.
Not anymore. I mean, I used to go out on 2 inches of ice, first ice, Thanksgiving weekend. And that's not me. If I'm not driving my wheeler out there, I'm probably not going out. I don't want to drag a sled anymore. That's just the way it is. But
I feel that.
And any advice to somebody, not to discourage you from getting into the fishing industry, but when, if you're an avid angler, and you get into a company like this and start your own company where you're selling batteries, you're working a lot of shows during your prime time fishing of the year. So you lose a lot of that time too. It's still one of those things. It's great. I love doing it as often as I can. I don't do it nearly as much as I used to. But I enjoy doing it with people, other people in the industry. I get to fish with a lot of pros. They take me out and, I fish in other boats more than I do my own because I get invited to, practice here or pre-fish here and,
Nice.
Film a show with so-and-so. So that's where I get most of my fishing in, not as much, personal time doing that.
Right.
But as and then you have family and kids and they grow older and, trying to get them into that as much as possible. But yeah, the ice stuff, I'm still very passionate about that. I love getting out. It's just something completely different, something to break up that winter. It's my winter sport. And kind of like kayaking, if you can't afford a boat in open water, get a kayak, right? Because there's so much you could do with it.
Agreed.
For ice fishermen, yeah, you could spend a lot of money on ice fishing, but I'll tell you what, all you really need is an auger, a fishing pole, and a bucket or something to sit on, right? So anybody can do it and fish prime spots on the lake where you can't do that without a boat or kayak in open water. So that's why I also like, ice fishing because so many people can do it. And I love getting people into that. And it's just fun to see all the cool, crazy stuff people come out with within this industry. So if you haven't had a chance to go ice fishing, book a trip somewhere. Northern Minnesota, Wisconsin have a lot of great guides and yeah, my gosh, you get up the Lake of the Woods or something. If you've never been ice fishing, I was fortunate enough to take, one of our Bassmaster Elite pros, Luke Palmer, out on the ice for the first time.
Nice.
And that was an absolute blast. He couldn't believe that we were driving on water. So, I'm going to get some more other guys up from the south this summer that have never done it before, but they appreciate that experience. It's pretty cool.
Luke's from down south, isn't he?
Oklahoma boy. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Try to get some of our Florida guys up this year.
I was gonna say they get cold there, but yeah, not like what's going on up north there. And we out here in Colorado, dude. I mean, we get ice. I worked dive rescue for enough years to tell you that I don't trust any ice in the Front Range. If you're gonna do ice fishing, to me, you need to get up in the mountains where it's sustainably down and that sun doesn't, secretly melt shelves off that you can't see or melting type thing that happens on the Front Range here, but. It's still, again, it's nothing like the north of Minnesota there. That's a part of life up there, that ice fishing. And really what's taken it to another level, and I know we're going to get couple guys are going to squawk about this that don't, of course, that want to chime in, but dude, LiveScope Panoptics with ice fishing has really taken this to a whole new game, when it comes to that. That's where this, the power comes into play, is your ability to drop in, check it, and keep moving, dude. I mean, that efficiency, that's gone through there, hasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, with LiveScope, if you ever truly want to learn LiveScope, how to set it up, how it works, and use it, when you're in a boat, you're constantly moving, right? Your trolling motor's moving. If you have it on that, if you're, if you've got waves, got everything, you're moving. When you use LiveScope ice fishing, it's stationary. Nothing is moving except for the fish below you. So you can really go in and play with your settings and stuff and really understand what everything does. And I think that helps you out in open water. And I think, I think the forward facing sonar, even when the first PS22 Panoptics came out, we were using that in ice fishing before I ever seen them anywhere in boats. It really took off there, and it's such a fun tool to have. And there's still old technology being used, and that's why we have such a wide variety. Your smaller batteries like this little 15 amp hour for like your traditional Vexilars. still have thousands and thousands of people looking for this technology every year that, that fish on the ice with your traditional Vexilars. But you want to have kind of like the shuttle. There's so many different shuttle companies out there. I use this HD Innovations one. Jason's a good friend of mine who started this company, and it's real simple technology. But you can take literally, I've got an 8610 on here. I got the LiveScope box on the back, batteries inside of here. This thing is super lightweight. In just about any battery we have, like even this 52 amp hour, will fit inside of here. And this 10-inch screen is going to last over 20 hours out on the ice. Wow. We've made this stuff portable. We made the technology and the batteries portable. You're seeing all these aftermarket companies make these shuttles portable. You're starting to see more and more, Lawrence has got, their Eagle Eye, which you're starting to see more on the ice, and, Hummingbird's got theirs, and you're starting to see other stuff really hit the market, for this and portability. And what I like about this too, this screen never leaves this, and I use this in my boat. So, it's not just for ice fishing that these shuttles, if you can see this here, it's got a little clasp on it. Oh, yeah. And they make a bracket, and they have like this Larmac 360 that mounts on the rail of my boat. And I can take this and move it around my boat, put my LiveScope transducer down. Or like when I pre-fish with our NWT walleye guys, they'll be fishing with LiveScope out in the front. I will take this, and this will mount to their track system in their boat. And then I'll have LiveScope in the back of the boat, and I can help them pre-fish or, co-angler, right, in a boat. And this makes this system portable from ice and then to bring boat to boat. So this stuff is really taking off. If you haven't seen it, there's so many different shuttle companies out there, but they make these things incredibly portable, all kind of designed ergonomics to fit the batteries that we have, and we've about 8 different models based on the size of screens you have. So yeah, very cool thing to check out if you're not familiar with them, looking for portability. It's out there. It's out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, that was, every season, that kicks in. For those folks that don't live in, in those climates where ice is a way of life, it's tough for them to wrap their head around it. No, you don't understand. This is a massive, when the long rods get put away and the ice rods come out, man, now that is going to be the new focus. The only thing that pretty much the ice game competes with is hunting, right? I mean, that's, you got to find the balance between the two. But from you guys up there, I mean, I used to work with the Clam, team quite a bit up there with their stuff. Yep. They're rolling. So yeah, it is for sure that I've talked to several guys about the live scoping deal. I finally, for the first time in like 6 years, think I found my way with live scope this year. Had it. So I got the boat, didn't have it for one season. The next season I got it. Didn't want to use it because it's just not my style of fishing out there. So I got rid of it. Fished a season without it. Then got into the kayak game. Didn't have it. Then I got it. Then I sold it, for a season. So each season I go back and forth until finally this last year I went ahead and bought it just because I had a heck of a deal offered on a bundle. I got this thing together, and finally, since I'm spending more of my time guiding now than I am anything, it's so important for me to get people on fish quickly and let these guys get fishing. And then when these smallies, because that's most of what we're chasing, as you know, from up north there, they're nomadic, dude. They move, right? And so you got to be able to stick with them and follow them and, move to these different transitions. And so we finally unraveled that code. And yeah, we've had the best year with it. I now have a confidence I don't fish from the screen like a lot of guys. I use the screen to keep me efficient. I look to see what I need to see, and then I can play around. But I can only imagine from the ice game doing the same thing with that, being able to see all the way around you and understand, what it is that you're trying to deal with down there, and just watching the mannerisms of the fish, man. That patterning is so critical.
Yeah, mannerisms of it. I mean, yeah, for locating fish, when you're open water, you got to move. And even for ice fishing, a lot of times people may not use this, for sitting there and, ice fishing and catching a fish, but they'll use it to locate schools of fish and then go out and fish those holes with like traditional, Vexilar. But yeah, to see how fish react, I think that's where I've learned the most from this technology, where if I drop something down and I see how they're reacting to a specific cadence or, what's bringing them in, what's pushing them out. I also do feel that, I see this a lot. I think more so for me, ice fishing in the colder, temperatures and everything. That if you have this constantly pinging on them, they're getting used to that, and I think sometimes it can scare them away. So there's some talk about that, and some technologies are better than others for it, whatever. But I don't want to get into that. But you can see that, and a lot of times, we're fishing in an ice house, and we'll have somebody fishing in an ice house near us, and you'll see the schools come in, they come within 10 feet, and they're gone. And then next thing you know, they're the ones with old technology catching the fish, and we're not getting near them. So I'll actually shut it off sometimes. But I think, between that and if you want to bring somebody new out that's never fished before and show them this technology and sit in one spot and, pick off crappies and stuff, they think it's like a video game. They think it's the coolest thing ever. So you can really entice new people into fishing by using that. And I know there's just a lot of talk about forward-facing sonar and tournaments and all that. But in today's day and age, I mean, that's just, when pre-fishing walleye, you got to have it to find them to stay on those big fish. Otherwise, it's a crapshoot. So it's really important. But once you get familiar with it, and really dial it down, it's a good piece to have in your arsenal.
So my guess is you know how to read a flasher unit then, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See, I don't. I've never been taught, and I know you ice guys, especially with flasher units, is a big deal. I'm looking at this series of kaleidoscope, colors flashing around, and guys are like, "See that fish right there?" I'm like, "What the hell is this? The Matrix?" No, I don't see a fish. What are you looking at? So I gotta get taught that one of these days. I was never around the flashers enough. I'm sure the same conversations too from the old guys were like, what is that blinky ass thing right there? And that's cheating, type deal. Yep. But yeah, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, in the 80s when it was first introduced, they thought it is cheating, and and today it's nothing. You only see a small cone below you. So, but it's just one of those things where some, like especially the panfish crappie guys on the ice, they love them because you're hole hopping. I mean, you got to go hole to hole to hole, and you're constantly moving. You don't want to be carrying something like this around. You got to have that smaller, lighter unit, and that'll show you a lot. But yeah, it's fun technology, and I still see people using it in open water. So I've not gone that far, but you still see people using them open water.
Exactly. So talk to me. It's show season, man. It's coming in right now. For me, it's podcast season. This is when I start doing these recordings and start getting set up, and a lot of admin stuff for the TPO. I'm coming into my fundraising time. November, December is big for us to try to, gather community support to fuel us for the next year so we can get these field ops events done. But for you guys, you're coming into show season, man, where you're going to be on the move, and that doesn't really slow down until like ICAST is done in, next year. But it seems like that's becomes your life at that point. You're on the road. What's first up, man? Is it you got to wait for the ice to get going, or what's the first big show coming?
No, we've got actually it starts this weekend. So when this airs, I probably be coming back from our first show. We have one Saturday, Sunday, the North Metro, Minneapolis, St. Paul area to kind of kick things off, and then it's we get a break for Halloween weekend, but it's really much go up until Christmas. There's shows all over the Midwest, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and a ton in Minnesota, kind of the ice belt, and then we get a break after the holidays, and then February starts up with open water stuff, and then we go through. I think our latest show is usually April. We signed up for Red Crest this year. We'll be at the Bassmaster Classic. So if anybody's, going to either of those shows, come stop by, see us. Those are our southern shows, but everything else we do is mainly in that Midwest area.
Red Crest, is that Table Rock this year?
It's in Missouri.
Yeah, I think it's Branson. I think it's Table Rock. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I just got the invite for that, signed up for that this morning. So we're actually just missed a call from them just a few minutes ago.
Oh,
and we're getting that all squared away, and we're going to do that for the first time this year. Unfortunately, like overlaps sometimes with our other shows, so we haven't been able to do it. but it is in April, so it's not in March like a lot of our other shows. And that's the problem. There's just so many shows out there. Everyone's like, oh, when are you going to come to New York? When are you going to come over here? And it's like, there are so many shows. You could do them all until you're blue in the face. But, we try to hit a lot of the big shows and do as much as we can. We're an online, most of our stuff is sold online. And then we have, major retailer partners like Shields. That'll be all across the U.S. and, and other major retailers carrying our products. So, but we try to do as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, totally, man. I had the pleasure of going to the very first Red Crest ever that was in La Crosse and going to that. And then I've also been to, I had a chance, the one that I had a chance to see you at the Bassmaster Classic there when I was down. That was my first ever Bassmaster Classic. And I mean, no disrespect either way, but there's no comparison. The Classic is, it just pulls so many more people. And I don't know, maybe Red Crest has grown since I was there. I loved it just because there were no big lines and it was easy for me to sit there and chat with the pros. And I was just joining Team Nitro. So it was pretty cool to sit there and talk with Evers and Van Dam and all those boys that were, Ott Defoe, all those boys that were with Nitro and get their insights. But yeah, it was, it's definitely, my guess is, especially at Table Rock, that should be a really good venue for them. That's right. That's Bass Pro heart of the, heart of the nation right there, man. Table Rock is legendary. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we look forward to both. Kentucky for the Classic, and then Red Crest. It'll be our first time doing the Red Crest, but I know it has grown over the years, so gaining in popularity. So definitely want to give that a shot and try to help as many people as we possibly can out there. See all the pros.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just the elite guys. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stuff. Well, listen, dude, I can't thank you enough, man, for cutting out some time here and spending an hour with us and talking about the stuff here. I truly mean it from all of us here. We can't thank you. Just going back, man, you were one of the first guys that believed in our mission, believed in my vision when I was trying to, cut teeth with this thing. We've proven it works now, and now we're starting to get a few collaborations that should really help boost us. But it takes that working together out there thing, man. And Amped Outdoors has just been a model for us. We're damn proud to fly the green out there and show people what we have and the work that we do. So thank you from all of us here, and I'm excited to see what you guys do next, man. I just literally, as we were talking, I got my hoodie ordered, so it's coming here. I was low key pulling out my wallet as we were talking because I wanted to make sure to get that hoodie coming this way, and that way it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission with the wife these days, So.
Amen. No, we appreciate what you guys do too. It's that we like to support. We do partner with GovX as well. So, for those first responders, teachers, active military veterans. Yeah, we have the GovX right on our website. If you're not part of GovX and you qualify, check it out because there's so many outdoor vendors that use GovX, and it's been a great tool. And I know we have a lot of customers that love using that. We just love to give back to those, who give back to us. So I appreciate that much.
Dude, that's super cool. Yeah, I will. That's great information for us to know as well that we can pass on to the guys and gals that we're taking out, man. That's because GovX is a cool deal with a lot of great discounts out there from you guys. So, well, listen, man, you have yourself an awesome show season coming up here. Safe travels throughout. I know that's the main thing is just traveling to and from these places. It's not as easy as just flying, right? You guys carry a pile of stuff and weight with you everywhere you go. So there's a lot of miles you guys put in.
Yep, and you too. Good luck this next weekend. Hopefully we see some good things, and safe travels down to Missouri.
Heck yeah. Well, hang out with me here real fast after we roll this thing out. And again, thank you so much, man. We'll be chatting with you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. That will do it. Again, this is not live. We're probably driving back. I might be home by now. Who knows? I'm not sure. But hey, stick with us. Next week after this airing here, we will be live again. We'll have that back because we'll be back in town. Maybe we won't. I'm not sure. We'll find out when I get back. I've got, the schedule gets nuts out here. But at any rate, hey, get outdoors. I know with the weather changing, this and that, get outdoors, spend your little bit of time, let that sunshine hit you, let the fog hit you, whatever it is. Get outdoors, get your pond fishing in, get shore fishing, or just get a walk in. Do whatever it takes to engage the outdoors. You'll be amazed at what it does for you out there when it comes to keeping things there. Unplug from the social media, right? Don't let that stuff grab you and keep you too far focused. If you're looking for hobbies, dude, I got all kinds of stuff to keep you busy here and spend all kinds of money when it comes to tackle and fishing and everything else. We can certainly get that squared away. And of course, the buddy checks. Reach out to somebody, man. Reach out, give a call. Make sure people are doing all right there. If you haven't talked to them this time of year, it's a great time to always check in with everybody and just make a call, make a text, go out for lunch, whatever the case may be. All right, that'll do it. Stick with us here. We'll be back next Sunday, same time. Tight lines. Be safe.